Welcome to League of Vloggers. Today we are on Season 4, Episode 5. Tonight your hosts are Curtis Jams over there.
Hello.
Myself, I am Viking Redbeard, aka Chase, I guess. You can clearly see there's only two of us this evening, so our co-host tonight is Beer.
As always, beer will join us.
As always, yeah, beer. Gotta love me some beer. Tonight's offering is from a local brewery in Denver called Four Noses.
Nice.
It might actually be in a burb, but...
I don't know. I haven't had them before, so this is new.
This is the first time that they've ever offered
beer?
Yes. A mixed pack, so...
Oh, okay.
That being said, we had some matches this weekend. There were a few...
Every weekend we do.
Yeah, for a little while. Matches kind of shook out how we thought for the most part. There were a couple upsets.
Yeah, I feel like Monday was really predictable. Tuesday was a bit the other way.
Saturday, Sunday.
I'm sorry, yeah, goddamn. Yeah, Saturday was super predictable. Sunday went a bit the opposite of what I was thinking, but not like crazy. And then Monday night was, yep.
Yeah, Monday went to... I thought I was making like a little bit of an off-the-wall, like going with FlyQuest over 100 Thieves. Like, 100 Thieves have looked pretty okay.
I considered predicting 100 Thieves myself, and I also felt like you did that. At least one of us would. But when it came down to it, I feel like FlyQuest has just been more reliable.
Yeah.
100 Thieves wins matches, sometimes in weird ways, whereas FlyQuest wins by actually playing well.
I mean, 100 Thieves have won at least one match a weekend up until this weekend, where they went 0-2, which... is a little bit, obviously it's uncharacteristic for them, especially with like their team played not as poorly. They weren't able to make a conversion on a win.
I think though when you like go back and look at their weeks, they had Golden Guardians and EG week 1, which they beat Golden Guardians, lost to EG. Week 2 beat CLG. Guess what? Everybody besides EG's done that. Lost to Cloud9. Guess what? Everyone's done that besides CLG, who just hasn't played them yet. TL was a win, Immortals was a loss, like that makes sense in the current standings as well, and then they lost to Dignitas and FlyQuest. So when it comes down to it, to me right now, 100 Thieves just looks like a 6th place team. They lose to everybody above them, and they win against everybody below them, which is not a lot of teams.
Yeah. 100 Thieves, like, they should be such a better team than they are. They've got players that are so good, but instead of making big plays and win, they get riggedy wrecked.
Yeah, and it's really interesting with this team because I think they have a lot to offer, potentially. I mean, you're rocking somebody in the top lane who's looking very good so far this split. I think he's looking the best he has in a while. Meteos does seem to be a bit underperforming, but still good. Ryoma's getting better in the mid, but obviously he's got a mountain to climb because he looked like the worst. Him and Aiko looked terrible to start this split off. And then you've got Cody-san in the bot, who we know is a good player. And I think Stunt's still trying to get up to snuff support-wise. It feels like right now support, there's a couple up at the top, and then there's a big gulf. And Stunt's on the top end of the bottom of that gulf, if you know, or you know what I'm saying there. Like, he's on the lower end of it, but he's like right at that edge, where hopefully he can start climbing in and doing something better. But this 100 Thieves team has a lot of potential. They play TSM to round out their first half, which I would expect them to lose that most likely. But then again, I don't know after what we just saw this weekend from TSM. And then Golden Guardians has been looking pretty decent too. So I think they're right around that Golden Guardians level. So this team needs to be picking up wins like that if they expect to make the playoffs. And I think that's where they're looking right now, is just trying to make top 6, make playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of an uphill battle for them. I mean, obviously 4 teams can't make playoffs. And right now, like, I don't want to completely write them off, but I don't have the highest of hopes for 100 Thieves right now.
Yeah.
Not to say that they can't turn things around and they can't fix their problems, but losing to like Evil Geniuses and Immortals and Dignitas and FlyQuest, like, these are the teams that they need to be playing well against. Like, they need to beat other middle of the pack teams, and if they can't beat other middle of the pack teams, they're at the bottom of the pack.
Yeah.
And you don't make playoffs when you're bottom of the pack.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, our actual preseason predictions for teams, I had them at 6th. You had them last.
Dead last.
Yeah, you had them dead last. Heather had them at 6 as well. So our group rating was tied for 7th/8th with Dignitas. So they're kind of performing where we expected them to right now, where there's two or three teams decidedly below them. CLG, Current Liquid, and Evil Geniuses. Those teams are definitely below them right now. But you need to make sure one more team's below you if you're going to make playoffs, and I think they're trying to make that Golden Guardians. And especially with TL most likely going to improve going forward, you really got to do something better.
I feel like TL is trying to make the C9 push from spring split last year when they were solid 10th place to making it to Worlds.
Ago right now, or whatever.
They went from the given 10th place to making 2nd place to make it was it for MSI? Or was that
they didn't make MSI. Like, I think they've pushed from like 10th or last like 2 splits now. I think it was spring of last year and then summer the year before that even. Like, I could look it up later, but yeah, Cloud9's done it a few times, and I think they're, like you said, trying to make that same style push.
It's so weird that Team Liquid is fumbling as much as they are. Like, losing to Immortals on Saturday, I think that was a Saturday match, like, that's devastating to them. Like, they should beat Immortals. They are a better team than Immortals. However, they were not able to make anything happen on the Rift. Like, they just got shut down. They looked silly, honestly.
They did.
I know Broxa had just come in.
Well, let's talk about Broxa. He arrived, and he had
I think he arrived on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday night, and he said he did a scrim that night, and then the next day. So he had done like 4 scrims in the day and a half he had previous.
Yeah, he just didn't get enough time with the team, and that makes sense. But considering the caliber of Broxa, like, you shouldn't really have to do like a lot to be better than a lot of these other teams.
Right. Well, although I think like against Immortals, unfortunately for him, he's playing against a very good jungler there. We all know Xmithy's super good, super reliable.
And that's gotta be such a good feeling for Xmithy. Like, you guys kick me to the curb, I'm gonna come back and
yeah, and it started with a flourish too.
Yeah, that if I remember that game, they started off pretty hot for Immortals. It kind of slowed down a little bit, and then they picked it right back up.
Yeah, well, because they had the ward that picked out Broxa coming in on the invade.
Yep.
And Hakuo came over, the dash over the wall from Xmithy. Like, they just played it perfectly, got the kill, and then Xmithy continued to punish. And it was such a good early game, and Immortals kept it up. They are the team that isn't, like, incredible, but they play very clean. Now, sometimes they do play down to their competition, unfortunately, but I think they played pretty clean against Team Liquid. Now, I would say on the other side of things here that Team Liquid did not continue to play at that level against CLG because they dumpstered CLG.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Broxa came in with something to prove, and
after day one,
even coming into day one, he looked like he was trying really hard to make big plays happen, and he was either always behind, he was a little out of position, or his team wasn't near him when he was trying to make these happen.
Yeah.
He got caught out like 3 or 4 different times in that game against Immortals, and just looked really silly.
Yeah. But his Gragas game against CLG, which, I mean, granted, if you want a team to look good, face them up against CLG.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this was contention for our Bubble Wrap Midget Wrestling match this weekend, which is really, really weird considering it's Team Liquid.
Yeah. Pre-season, we all ranked Team Liquid number 1. Everyone, period, basically, throughout the LCS viewing population, ranked Team Liquid number 1. Now, granted, that did have the assumption that Broxa was actually playing when you make those rankings.
Sure.
But even right now, we're looking at Team Liquid, who is 3-5, with Evil Geniuses yet to face to end up their first half. If they sweep the rest of their games, including the EG game, that means they go 13-5, which is a good record. That's definitely high playoffs. That's not necessarily going to get them a bye, though.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, I guess it's not a bye this split. It's a little different. You actually only need to make top 4 is what you got to do, but that's a whole nother thing.
Okay. Yeah, Team Liquid, they are still floundering. I mean, winning against CLG, like if they would have lost against CLG,
Oh my
I would
God.
have written them off. Like, I mean,
They would have been tied for last with CLG had they lost that game.
well, I mean, TL would have been 1-5, and CLG would have
Yeah,
been.
they would have been 2-6 each.
Oh, they would have been 2-6.
Yeah. Like, you talk about floundering. I mean, obviously CLG. We've talked about them week in week out, so I don't think we really have to spend time on it now. But has a team ever floundered as hard as CLG is right now?
Golden Guardians 2 years ago, spring split.
You know what? You're right. Yes.
Um,
But it doesn't even look like there's a glimmer of things going right. The one game they won was because Ruin was on Soraka, and nothing else looks good out of these guys. They had a close game. Was it against TSM early that went forever? I think in week 2. No, week 1 somebody did that with TSM. I think that was Immortals. Yeah, that was like an hour match to start off the season. But I don't know. Like CLG is just so bad.
it's really unfortunate because CLG's players they're not terrible I mean, they are terrible looking right now, but I wouldn't say that.
You look at the roster and you're not like, oh, that's a dumpster fire.
Exactly.
Like Ruin, okay, I'm not hyped on Ruin. Wiggly showed some potential last year, but obviously I'm not super hyped on him. Crown can be a great player and we all know it. Stixite can be a great player and we all know it. And Smoothie can be a great player and we all know it. And somehow that team is by far the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Like they are 2 games out of being tied with anyone else. The fact that they have a win seems miraculous right now, but it's only because EG is sputtering hard as well and managed to sputter real hard that match.
Yeah, I mean, considering that they're from last split when they were a top 3 team, top 4 to this, I don't think they made any downgrades on their roster. I feel like they made side grades or upgrades in terms of player quality.
Power of Evil to Crown, Biofrost to Smoothie.
And they still just can't make things happen.
Yeah, I think, honestly, what we are seeing in a lot of ways is that so many other positions in the league as a whole have gotten better, which is kind of weird to say, but, it's an overall thing where we're seeing Afromu's playing better this split than he was last because of, I think just the team as a whole. You're seeing Johnson is a new AD carry. You're seeing Sven doing better than he did last split. You're also seeing Blabber playing now as well as Svenskeren on EG. You're seeing this spread out of talent with some new talent coming in and some old talent reviving a bit, and no one on CG or CLG improved. It seems like everybody is where they were and maybe slightly worse, and when you take all of that into account, even with these other teams having to mesh, they seem to be meshing slower than everyone else too. They don't seem to have an identity yet other than losing. And so you're just seeing it all compound and they're looking worse and worse.
Yeah, they're looking worse and worse. You are not wrong there.
And they've got Cloud9 to finish out their first half of the split and then FlyQuest. I don't think if they pull off a win next week, that's going to be huge for them because that is a number 1 team and a tied for 2nd team. But if they go 0-2 next week, I'm not surprised, but at the same time, that gives them 4 weeks before the end of the split to just try whatever the hell they think works. I think you're looking at their bench right now. Is there anything there you think swap in?
I mean, they've got Tuesday in the mid lane. They've got Fragus in the jungle. They've got Phil as their alternate support. They've got Deus alternate top lane, and Wind as their alternate bottom lane. These are all wildly unknown names.
Yeah, I mean, the only one I really know at all is Phil, because Otto and Phil played on Fox for a short bit.
Yep.
I mean, I would give Phil and you said Deus is the top laner?
Yep.
Those would probably be the first 2 I'd give a try. Especially Deus, just because I don't think Ruin's showing up.
Yeah, it's...
And
it's
just tell
really,
Wiggly
really
to camp
weird.
mid, put Deus in the top, and just tell him try not to lose. I don't know. And the top lane feels stacked this year, too. Impact is a little bit underperforming, but you have Licorice looking as good as ever. You've got Someday back in form. Hooney's looking pretty damn good. Broken Blade, Viper, it's coming in hot in the top lane, and I feel like that's a bad spot to be this year right now.
Yeah, 100%. I was trying to see. I made some comments yesterday, but apparently I was making them in the moment and didn't actually tag what had happened.
Oh, that's all right.
But it definitely wasn't about CLG, so that's fine.
So we did do a quick hit on Broxa with TL. Do you think TL can make that climb you mentioned earlier? I mean, they've got the 5 weeks left. They've got 10 games to try and turn shit around. They're 3-5 right now. Could be worse. They've got EG and Dignitas next week, so I think EG, they should be able to pull that one, unless EG starts coalescing even better. I think they've started to look a little bit better.
Showing some signs of life, yes.
But, I don't know, what do you think of TL going forward right now?
I don't see TL taking top 3 right now, but I see them taking top 5.
I think that's a really, nice and tempered viewpoint. I like that.
There's nothing saying that they can't make top 3 right now. It definitely can be done, but I think with how they've been playing, and now that they just have gotten Broxa, unless they're doing nothing but grinding every single day between here and until the end of the split, they're gonna burn themselves out before they're gonna start to play super well together.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said something that kind of almost in passing that's really true. The way they're playing right now, because it's not just that Schernfire was an issue. The team as a whole hasn't looked on point. I mean, I mentioned Impact's not crushing it. Now they have Brox, and that should help every lane. But really, the only person statistically doing good on that team is Jensen.
Yeah.
Double Lift hasn't been up to snuff. He looked a little better this week, but he still didn't look Double Lift. Core JJ has been fairly quiet, which I think support and jungle duo is very important. So he always had Xmithy, who's super intelligent pathing, a lot of control of the map, and he's the same. So you had this support jungle duo, which was just doing the same shit at the same time on the same level. Yeah. And so it's going to take him a while to adjust to Brox as well. But, I mean, we've also seen he was kind of the more aggressive of him in Xmithy, so I think Broxa will be more aggressive than him, but he can match that as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of feel the same way as you, where I feel like probably they'll end up around 4th. Just because no other teams look great right now, I think on raw talent, even if they don't fully get their identity together, that they'll just be able to outplay through raw talent.
I feel like Double Lift almost has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I feel like trying to play the Senna, trying to force a win out of Senna, I think it hurt them more than it helped them.
Yeah.
I think they could have been on almost any other... I think Double Lift could have been on almost any other AD carry and played much better. But he was trying so hard to get a win on this character before it got its nerf.
Well, and I think it had a little bit to do, obviously, with coaching as well on that.
And yeah, I mean, I'm sure coaching is there.
But, I mean, he played the Callista and Varus this weekend. I heard some gruffing from people about the Callista, but I think she's in an okay spot for somebody who's as good at her as Double Lift. And his Varus looked fine. I mean, obviously, against CLG, but, they didn't lose the bot lane by his Callista. They just didn't win that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like Double Lift, it almost seems like he's in kind of a funk right now. It seems like him and Core JJ are a little out of sync.
Yeah.
Core JJ, still a good player. I don't think that he's necessarily losing his touch, and I don't think that necessarily Double Lift is losing his touch. I think that them as a team together, or a duo together, they're not meshing as well as they did last split.
Yeah. I think that's really true and kind of underrated in how prevalent that's been so far. Because everybody, wants to get on Double Lift on the Senna and stuff, which, with cause... But him and Core JJ previously were winning the bot lane, period. It was just every other bot lane, all other 9 bot lanes in LCS duos, try to lose less. And that's what we're seeing out of Vulcan and Sven now. It's they're going to win the lane by 20 CS, try not to give up a kill.
Yeah.
And they're doing it without gank support most of the time too, which is even crazy. That's what Double Lift and Core JJ did. It was oh no, Core JJ's in this lane. He's gonna gank for us by being in this lane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, TL's got some definite things to fix, but I'm with you. They'll make playoffs. I don't know if they're gonna be a contender to get to finals though. I think in 3 weeks, I'll know.
Yeah, I mean...
I think after week 7, with 2 weeks to go, I'll be able to say they can contend for finals, or nah, they're not going to have it.
That seems fair. That's enough time. Like, because Broxa just getting into town, just, like, he was coming in jet-lagged, I'm sure, playing... He could have been screaming over there, but, I mean, clearly it's not the same because he wasn't with his team.
Right.
So, he effectively came in as a solo queue...
Jet-lagged.
Yeah.
Top tier solo queue jungler.
Yeah. So, I mean... It's really unfortunate that his visa took this long to get sorted out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it is a little bit amusing watching TL flounder this much.
Oh yeah.
Because they've had such a chip on their shoulder about how like they're the best and
everybody likes to watch the Patriots and the Yankees lose, and TL's the Patriots right now.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, who do you want to win the Super Bowl? Patriots aren't in it, yay!
Yeah.
Who do you want to win? Don't care.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't have anything against these players. I think that they're fantastic players.
I like all the players. That's the other thing.
Yeah, but it's just like, when you have one team just come in and sweep every year, it's like, okay, who cares?
Yeah, they've won the past 2 seasons. Not splits, seasons.
Yeah.
So everybody's ready for that changeover now. So actually, let's talk about 2 teams, not the top of the pack. Cloud9, obviously top of the pack. They're still undefeated. I'll just do the quick blurb there. Cloud9, 8-0 right now. The only team standing in the way of them and being C9-0, clearing out the first half of the split, is CLG.
Which is...
the last team.
That's like a softball lob by a 4-year-old.
It should be.
Standing 2 feet away from you.
Like, I hope Cloud9...
Maybe holding the ball to their hand.
I think with Reapered, there's the 50-50 of he just focuses so hard. Like, he goes, no, we're not going to choke on this. And he designs a game that they can win in 20 minutes just to, like, show how good they are. Or he goes, this is an opportunity for us to try something a bit out of our wheelhouse, and it might blow up in their face. But move it, Cloud9 looking the best right now. But let's look at the 2 teams right behind them. Immortals and FlyQuest. Currently tied at 5-3 for second place. These teams are not ones that were high on our radar going into the split. I personally had them at 8-9, Immortals and FlyQuest. You had them at 7-9. Heather had them at 5 for Immortals and 9. And so our group ranking, our average, was Immortals at 6th, FlyQuest at 10th.
Oof.
Outside of your ranking of CLG at 2nd, that's about as wrong as we could possibly be at everything. Or I'm sorry, no, Heather had that one. Never mind.
I was gonna say,
damn it. No, yeah, that's. But yeah, I mean, we all had FlyQuest at 9, and here they are tied at 2. And it doesn't look to me like they're going to slip that far back.
Turtle's looking good.
Yeah.
Viper has been looking insane. Like, it was really cheeky watching them have to ban a Riven against them. Like, I mean, if you give it to him, he's going to win. But if you ban it, it's just like, well, that's a waste of a ban in this meta currently because it's ridiculous to think
it's a waste of a ban against anyone but FlyQuest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so to watch them have to ban the Riven and waste a ban on it, otherwise you get Riven slammed down your throat, like, it's like...
I want to see more of that from other teams. I've said I want to see Froggen push the issue on his Anivia when it works. Because if they can cause that same... I mean, it's such a small thing, but such an important thing. Like, I noticed, like, the bans... It's so hard and easy to manipulate them in some ways. I noticed during a quick diversion here, Cloud9 against Evil Geniuses. So you get to the last pick, because Cloud9's on red side, and they picked Gragas. Okay? So what have we seen Cloud9 play recently and destroy with? Gragas, Kiana, mid. Mm-hmm. So I knew they were going to ban Kiana. And sure enough, EG's second round ban is Kiana. Well, you probably want to ban the Yasuo, too, because Cloud9 does that. Guess what? They banned Yasuo. So just by picking Gragas jungle, they forced both of Evil Genius's second-round bans to mid and to champions that they were only going to play if they weren't banned.
Yeah.
And maybe not even then. It's like, so being able to go, well, we have Viper in the top lane, you have to ban Riven, and probably ban it first round. That's huge.
Yeah, it's so cheeky. It's so it
feels
feels so bad that you have to take those bans like that because there are dozens of other characters that are probably more necessary bans, but
I get
against
a half
any other
chub
team,
every
but
time.
yeah.
Do you think Viper just cracks his knuckles every time he sees that locked in as the ban? He's just like, thanks, guys.
Yeah, I mean, especially seeing, like, I've seen a couple other teams try to pull the Yasuo out to varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
Usually more failure than success because they try to style a little bit too much, and, yeah, Yasuo, fuck you.
Yeah.
But back to FlyQuest, Turtle's looking so much more on form. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, he must have been on vacation last split because I don't know what else was going on there.
Well, I mean, I think something in particular that the support. I mean,
oh, JJ or Ignar?
He's rocking Ignar in the bot lane with him now, and Ignar's having a hell of a resurgence.
He is on his 8th unique champion in 8 games.
Yeah, he rocked Yumi in game 1 and looked great on it. Their game 1 being against TSM, and then who did he play against? 100 Thieves. Let me see here quick. He rocked Thresh, which, I mean, he's good at hook champions. We all know that.
Yeah,
Kid's looking so good, and he's making Wild Turtle have the room he needs to play like Wild Turtle does without getting exploded.
Yep. Ignar has been insane. He made a cheeky, well, it was probably like kind of a forced cheeky comment, mostly because Avali may not have like fully understood him. But it sounds like he locked himself into a Rumble support for one of these following games.
No, I think he meant that. I think he really was like, oh, what's something weird I would like to play support? Rumble. Because people do it.
Okay.
That's not a completely out of left field thing. People do Rumble support.
Yeah, he was saying that when he solo queues top, and he just destroys on Rumble, so he thinks he could pull it down into the support.
God, I would love to see it.
It would be funny.
When's the next time they play CLG? Oh, next week!
That'd be too funny. I'd be happy to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Turtle's looking good, Santorin's looking good, Viper's looking disgusting.
Power of Evil resurging on this. Like, not that he looked bad on CLG last year, but he's looking better this year. Yeah.
This gank here was just so ridiculous that Viper was able to take
against,
the double.
For people just listening, 100 Thieves against FlyQuest, where they ganked Viper as Ornn under his own turret. Like idiots, they got close to the turret. He slammed in the turret, got the knock up on both, did the unstoppable, so he didn't get moved around. Got the kill onto the jungler, Media on Sejuani, and then as Someday was like running away, he did the ultimate, and he almost killed him with that. Like he almost turned out a 2-for-0 under his own turret. Like they overforced that gank, and I think that's the stuff I kind of talking about 100 Thieves earlier, where they just don't look like they have an identity yet. They're like, oh, we've got to force this. Why? Cause.
Yeah, and this was 100 Thieves, like probably their silliest game that they've looked in like so far.
And I feel like FlyQuest has their identity. It's Viper is going to be he's being a rock in the top lane right now. He's kind of impact-ish. He's a little more aggressive, little less awesome at defending himself. Like he had that great play under turret against 100 Thieves, but he's being a rock in the top lane. They have their identity of Ignar and Wild Turtle just doing shit wherever they feel like it and doing it well most of the time. And then getting some gold to Power of Evil to let him, pop off. And Santorin is enabling all those players to do that. He's not popping off on his own, but he's giving the support these players need to make it happen.
Honestly, I think Meteos was the biggest problem in this particular game. Meteos looked so bad. He was always out of position. He was always trying to force things. He wasted his ult like 3 different times.
Yeah. He wasn't playing well from behind. He was trying to make stuff happen. And I feel like that's the opposite we see out of Santorin. Santorin's just like, do we have this? No? Okay. And they walk away. We have this? Maybe. All right, let's do it. And then, because Turtle's going to flash forward. Like, just go ham and let Turtle and PoE do what they do.
Yeah, no, 100 Thieves looked really, really bad in this game. This is by far like their worst showing of this week.
But FlyQuest.
FlyQuest looked so fucking good. Like this, it was insane. Like this game was really fun to watch because 100 Thieves kept making these really poor choices, and FlyQuest was just punishing them left and right.
So, I mean, obviously we both feel pretty good about FlyQuest right now. How do you feel about the other team I mentioned, tied with them, Immortals? Because I think they have been quiet, like somehow still quietly, one of the most well put together teams in the league.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Immortals. Like, Xmithy has looked so good. Like, what else we got going on here? Ica, he's been
Ica's improving.
He's looking okay. Like, it's really weird that this team is doing as well as they are, because with the exception of Xmithy and maybe Soaz, like, the rest of the team is looking mediocre at best.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing, like, giant pop-offs from Altec and Haku, although, actually, if you look at the statistics, Altec is crushing it.
Yeah.
Altec, I believe, is the only player outside of Cloud9 in the top 6 in KDA.
Okay.
Like, it is Altec at, like, 3rd or I think 4th, and then the 5 Cloud9 players all around him going, yes, we are the most dominant team in the league. Like, and Altec's putting up crazy damage numbers, like damage per minute and overall damage. He's just doing great overall, which makes me really happy, because there's that year he was out of the league after he left Echo Fox. He took the year, went to Korea, and just was grinding and grinding and grinding, and he's coming back now and showing the fuck up.
Yeah, and they're doing it in, like, such quiet fashion. Like, none of their plays have looked, like, super flashy. They've not looked like they're, like, going out of their way to make big things happen. They're just winning. And it's a little refreshing. It's almost a little boring to watch, but...
Right?
I mean, it's almost like TL last year. Like, oh, TL's going to win this game. Oh, they might not win this game? Oh, wait, the other team messed up and got punished, and now the game's over.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like... TL was really boring to watch when they were on their winning streak. And, like, that's kind of how Immortals is to me right now. Like, they're quietly winning. They're not doing anything big. They don't have big names. There's nothing flashy going on. It's just, they're there and they're getting things done.
I would say the big difference I would point out between last year's TL and this year's Immortals is TL would, like you said, when it was like, oh, well, they lose. It was like, because they're trailing and stuff. It's like, well, then they would just win a mid-game team fight and take everything. Mm-hmm. Whereas this Immortals is quietly doing the right thing the whole game.
Exactly.
Like, you're not sure if they're going to win. It's not, oh, are they going to lose because they're behind? It's, well, they're not way ahead. Are they going to make a mistake? And then they just don't.
Yeah. They've looked so good.
Like, of course, then they somehow go and drop that game to Evil Geniuses on Monday. Or was that Monday? I don't remember. No, that wasn't Monday, was it? No, not at all. They dropped that on Sunday to Evil Geniuses. You know, and I've got to say, like, Evil Geniuses looked pretty alright in that game. Like, I think that's the weird thing with Immortals. They've got a loss to FlyQuest Cloud9. Makes sense. Evil Geniuses, what?
Yeah, that one's a little baffling. Like, Evil Geniuses did look good this weekend. They well, not look good. They didn't look good. They showed up a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, they had Immortals in Cloud9. Nobody's going to look against Cloud9 right now until you beat them. Like,
agreed, yeah.
Although, to be fair, TSM this weekend, Saturday, did look pretty good to start off of Blabber overcommitting to some stuff. They get the first 2 kills of the game, and then from there on out, Cloud9 was like, oh, wait, let's just make all the right decisions and not play it wrong. And they won. Like, it was ridiculous how clean that was. But I think overall, Immortals is a really solid team. I would be shocked to see them fall below 5th this split. Because I just don't see anybody else pulling it together enough that they can beat a fundamentally sound squad.
I can dig that, yeah. I can agree with that.
Because, I mean, if we're looking at, like, Cloud9's going to stay ahead of them. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that puts them in 2nd. I think FlyQuest will get and stay ahead of them. So that puts them in 3rd. I'm going to... even if TL makes their surge, okay, that puts them in 4th. And then Dignitas or TSM can pass them. But I don't think TL, TSM, and Dignitas all pass them.
Yeah. So
probably 5th still. Like, if this team is 4th, I'm in no way shocked. If 4th or above, I'm not surprised at all. Like, they're just a good team. I think 3rd, 4th is realistically where they end up. So, that's my take on them. Yeah.
Yeah, nope, I'm good with that. I did want to talk about Evil Geniuses for just a second here. We
Yeah.
don't have to touch too much on them.
got it right there.
Yeah, you do. You sure do.
So I know during the Cloud9 Evil Geniuses intro, you sent out a message, and that's why I put it in our show notes here. You wanted to talk about that intro video where Bane was talking.
That was the most depressing thing that I've ever seen from a player. Like, Bang being such a good player, he comes in and he kind of says something along the lines of we're playing a team game and I can't control my teammates. I can't control what they do.
Yeah.
And like the way he said it, like the demeanor in his eyes, like you could tell that this was hurting him.
Yeah.
Like
it wasn't a, it's a team game, that's just how it is. It was a, we'd be better if I could make us better.
Exactly. And I think he's right. I think he could make them better.
Yeah.
But it's so absurd, considering that they have Svenskeren on the team with them, Zeyzal coming from Cloud9 from last split when they were looking really good. They've got the players on this team to do it.
Yeah.
And they can't.
I feel Kumo's getting better, but he's not there yet. Zeyzal,
Jizuke looks so good for 5 seconds and then looks like shit the rest of the game.
Yeah, so actually there's, the casters on the desk talked about it at length as well. There's that moment early in the Cloud9 game where Svenskeren comes mid and he gets the flash for free out of Niski. Perfect flag and drag in.
He could have gotten a kill on top of it.
Well, so he starts walking away because the quote-unquote correct play generally is, I got it for free, let's walk away, because he flashed under turret, right?
Oh, sure.
Niski starts walking forward. Jizuke sees that, and he walks forward as well, and he almost kills him too. And then the people on the desk said, they're like, if they both do the same thing, they either get a kill, or they get the flash for free. Instead, they go in, they don't quite get the kill, Jizuke's almost dead, Svenskeren's pretty low, they're walking away, because Blabber shows up and saves the day, which I've heard the comms now, because Cloud9 released that in their weekly thing that they put out, and it's totally the minute Niski flashes, Blabber's I'm on my way, and Niski says, he's alright, I'm going back in. He went in knowing he wasn't going to die. He knew Blabber was there. He knew he had enough lifesteal being Cassio to just barely survive. I mean, obviously, it's an estimate. He could have died and, regretted it. But he gets away with it. And instead, they get chased down. Niski goes to base. He TP's back in. And on the comms, they call in Licorice from the top. They're like, Licorice, come down, come down. Niski calls for the ward in the brush so he can TP to it before they get out of river even. Cloud9 was just being a great team working together, and they end up getting 3 kills, a double kill onto Niski, and they give up Licorice, I think, died in there. It was Licorice or Blabber. No, it was Licorice, because Blabber then went and took both scuttles, because the jungler's dead. Yeah. And so off that one play, the game went from, cool, we got a free flash, to, we're fucked.
Yeah. It's so disheartening. They're not playing together. They've got Jizuke from EU. They've got Bang from Korea.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in NA for a year, but yeah.
And then they've got the rest of the team is varying US.
They've got the rest of Cloud9.
they've got 3 different play styles, and none of them are cohesive together.
Yeah.
And they're not.
They just need to communicate better.
Yeah.
Because really, Svenskeren goes in and goes, got flash, I'll return gank or whatever. Jizuke needs to just not go in there. Because I get what the desk was saying about, if they both commit, they get the kill. If they both commit, Niski probably doesn't walk back forward.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't walk back forward immediately, and then Blabber shows up anyway, and they're fighting, near turret, and it gets messy. Take the free flash off of Cassiopeia, man! Jarvan will go take a camp, a scuttle, and he'll come back and do it again, and she can't flash the shit this time. That's the play.
Yep.
Generally speaking. I mean, if they commit and they get the kill, great. I also appreciate and understand why you would do that. But one way or another, those players need to work together. And the same goes for the whole team. I think Kumo's getting better, but we saw in the first few weeks that he was never involved in anything. His KP was abysmally low. It was 9% kill participation. It was awful. It's just why are you never in a fight? You should be TPing in. You should be involved in a fight because you guys can see it coming before it comes. Like, things like that. And he was never there. He's getting better. But that team has, I think, the biggest mountain to climb communication-wise, because CLG's issues don't seem to be communication. They just seem to be, we don't know what we do. So, I don't know. I feel for Bang. Like, to bring it all back around to where we started here, I get it, because he's like, well, if I could control my team, well, it's great. I think if any one person on your team could control the team, you guys would be incredibly better. You'd be middle of the road real fast.
What do you think that does for the rest of his team? Because he didn't necessarily call anyone out. He didn't say we would be better if we did this, or this, or if this person did this better. Yeah. But it was kind of like...
I think if I'm one of his teammates, I am a little bothered by the comment. But at the same time, I probably agree with him. Like, if I'm looking at the players on his team, I think Zeyzal agrees. I think Svenskeren agrees. I don't know Niski's mindset so much. And I don't think Kumo has any sort of way to have an attitude about things because he's never really done anything yet.
Yeah.
So I think he agrees, like, probably more than anyone else. He's like, yes, I wish you could control me because I'm making bad decisions. Svenskeren's like, yeah, we need to be cohesive. Zeyzal's like, yeah, we need to be cohesive. And I would, like, Jizuki seems like an amenable person enough that he would also say that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope that loss, the way it started at the beginning of that game, just leads to them sitting down for a time and be like, all right, who's making the calls? And not just like, oh, we're going in here, shit. Like, that was good. We're calling it there. We're pushing hard. I don't care if the decision is one person's name or whoever makes the call first. We need to decide who's saying it and that everyone's listening. Because I think if they do that, they immediately climb up to 7th.
Yeah, no, I mean, they looked good against Immortals. They beat FlyQuest last week, which is a good win for them. But then they lose to CLG, Golden Guardians.
Yeah.
Like,
they're the only team to lose to CLG.
Like, that is just baffling.
Yeah, I mean, they've got TL to start next week off, who will have another week with Broxa under their belt. And by another, I mean a week with Broxa under their belt. That's still a very winnable game. Them and TSM, who went 0-2 against teams they're competing to be against the top, and making themselves look like, even though it looked like, oh, they're surging to be the second best team in the league, and that's what I thought last week, it's like, oh, they're like a playoff team. So if EG can get their shit together, they can get a really huge 2-0 week.
Yeah,
But they've got to get their shit together hard.
No, I agree. I like Evil Genius's team. I think they've got a good roster. They just need to be a team. Like,
yeah,
everyone is trying to 1v9 that.
Yeah, be a team. Full stop. Like,
yeah.
Oh man. Well, I think we've mostly covered all the teams in the league, and we're almost at our halfway point. Granted, we haven't seen the last game, because obviously week 5 is the crossover point. We have one more game for the first half of the split, and then one game for the second half of the split. But let's go ahead and have a little bit of fun with it, because we do have some time. If anyone in the chat has a question, a topic, go ahead and throw it in there. But let's do our re-ranking of people halfway through the split. Okay. So I think we're going to both put Cloud9 first.
Makes a lot of sense.
Just happens to be the best team in the league and undefeated. So, and we're looking, I mean, obviously when we did our preseason ranking, it was trying to decide who's going to be where at the end of the split, right? And that's still what we're shooting for here. So, who do you think is going to be second at the end of this split?
That's a good question.
I'm going to say FlyQuest currently.
I think if FlyQuest continue doing what they're doing, that makes a lot of sense.
It's an if, though. It's a hell of an if.
I mean, Immortals close on their tail. Dignitas, Dignitas is kind of dropping off a little bit.
Yeah, they've looked a bit rough over the last 2 weeks.
I guess a Fly makes a lot of sense. I'll go with Fly as well.
All right. Who do you have as your number 3 slot?
Oh, God.
I'm putting you on the spot here. I did not give you prep time.
I'm going to pick GG.
God damn, I was gonna put him high, and I thought I'd be alone on that, but I'm not gonna put him third. I think I'm actually gonna expect a insane TL surge.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna end the split third necessarily. I think they'll finish playoffs third. Well, 3rd/4th. But,
oh, this is for end of split. Okay.
Yeah, this would be end of split.
Okay, then fuck. I'm gonna move GG to 4 if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Who are you putting in third then?
I think you're spot on with TL.
Okay.
They're gonna come back. I don't think they're gonna make the run to 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. But...
So we're gonna be equal through 4 then, because so for me, honestly, Golden Guardians in their game against Dignitas, it was their game against Dignitas, right? Or no, maybe I'm thinking of FlyQuest against 100 Thieves. I don't remember. God damn, now I'm questioning. I was gonna write a note and I forgot about it. It was them or somebody else. Executed a perfect 1-3-1.
Yes.
Absolutely. Was that Golden Guardians?
Yeah, that was Golden Guardians
I
against
thought so.
Dignit. Or no, that was against TL last week. I'm pretty sure.
No, there was one this week.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because I remember watching it on Monday. Because I watched 6 of the matches on Sunday, and then two, and then the 2 live ones on Monday.
Okay.
But so I think it was them against Dignitas. I could be wrong, but execute a perfect 1-3-1. Like, did not over push it. It was just like, we're gonna slowly take every single tier 2 turret because we have Baron, and there isn't shit you can do about it. And that sort of control and knowledge is so important to being a top half team. And they showed that. Now, I'm hoping I'm not misremembering, but I've seen like good stuff out of Golden Guardians this split, and I think I'm going to see more of it.
I sure hope so. I think that like Hanser is like starting to look like a good top laner again.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, it was Golden Guardians because they had Diana pushing the top and Ornn in the bottom.
Closer is starting to look so good.
Closer, very good. He's I'd say a top 3 jungler right now in the league.
Yeah. I think
Broxa will enter that too, and then so it'll be like him, Broxa, Blabber, and Xmithy, but yeah.
Yeah, Golden Guardians looking so good. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep it up. Probably not, but I'm going to go a little bit of faith with them.
Yeah, all right, number 5. Let's go 5 and 6, round out your playoffs.
5 and 6. So I'm going to put Immortals at 5.
And I know who's going to do 6. I know it.
It's got to be TSM.
Yeah. I almost went Immortals TSM as well. I might go the opposite way. I don't know. I think TSM is going to get a little more together. I think Kabe is a good enough player. Also, they could... So TSM, here we go. They're either going to finish 5th, because they'll keep it together, or Dardoch's going to explode and they're going to finish like 8th.
Dardoch has looked rough. Like, I mean, granted, losing to Cloud9 makes sense. Cloud9's so good right now.
Yeah.
Losing to FlyQuest kind of makes sense because FlyQuest is looking so good right now.
I think as a player, you have to remind yourself that this FlyQuest is very good right now. Or, better than most of the teams in the league. So don't take that as like a loss to a bottom half team. Now, if they drop to EG and 100 Thieves next week, then the self-flaming might need to start. Or might be likely to start.
So I think that rounds out my 6. I think 6-7 is going to be...
Or 7-8?
7-8 is going to be Dig, EG. I want to put 100 Thieves in 10th, but I'll give them 9th. And then CLG is going to be the dumpster fire that they are. Yeah,
and I'm very much the same lines. I'm EG 100. I'm willing to see it finish the other way, but I feel like EG's starting to get it together, whereas 100 Thieves isn't. So I'm actually the same way, EG 100, Dig EG 100 and CLG to round it out. So honestly, we only have one difference, and it's our TSM Immortal swap. Like, I think things, it's funny, as much as standings are clumped right now, you have Cloud9 Soul 1st, CLG Soul 10th, a tie at 2nd, a 3-way tie at 4th, and a 3-way tie at 7th. Everything seems like pretty well tiered, and with teams rising and teams falling. So I think that's why we read it pretty well the same way right now. It's just like, yeah, it looks like this team's on the upshot and this team's not. The one team that we don't know is on the upshot, we're just assuming for sure, is TL.
Yeah.
Because it's wholly possible. It would be improbable, but it's wholly possible that they make no swing up and end like 6th.
That is possible.
I guess that's still technically a swing up.
That's true. In my opinion, that seems unlikely. I mean, I think in a lot of people's opinion, that seems unlikely.
Agreed.
I think once Broxa is... unless trying to pull in the best players from the other regions of the world into NA, where NA, like, plays wildly different than most other regions, like, that's probably problem number one. You have to reteach some of these players that know how to play Korean League or European League or Chinese League and try to teach them how to play NA League.
Yeah.
Which they're all kind of different. They're all playing the same game, obviously, but they're all playing the same game very differently.
Jat, in his podcast, he was sitting down with Prawley. This was like 2-3 episodes ago. And he did a really kind of quick... It ended up being quite quick breakdown of his thoughts on the way the different regions play. And granted, there's no LPL right now still, so... left that one out.
It's
gonna be real interesting to see what happens with all this.
I mean, granted, have to crush out matches, because
they play more than
best
everyone
of
else.
fives, right?
Threes,
best of threes.
But they
every
play
week?
more than everyone. They play all week long, like a normal like baseball or basketball does.
Gosh.
And they like travel for their stuff, and they're the biggest league. They have well over 10. I think they're at like 16 teams in their league and stuff. Like, theirs is a whole nother ballgame. But so Jat and Prawley broke down. It was mostly Jat's idea, and Prawley was like, "Yeah, actually, that sounds pretty dead on." And I agree too, as he was saying it. LEC, LCK, LCS. Basically, Europe plays incredibly aggressive. It's just like the other thing you say, it's every team or every league, it's kind of like, what does the best team do? And then, there's the trickle down of let's do what that team does, because that's how, you win in this league. And so in the LEC in Europe, it's just like, well, G2's crazy aggressive. They just take chances and they outplay you in fights. And so they take, is there a fight here? Let's take it. And so you're seeing that in the LEC. In the LCK, it's exactly the opposite. Not that they won't fight, but that their whole style is based around, what are we supposed to be doing right now? Let's do that. So, and that goes too deep. Because it goes to the point when you're watching those matches, so it's like, well, this bot lane our bot lane choices are supposed to lose to their bot lane. So we're not even going to try and beat them in lane. We're assuming they're going to play this right, and they're going to win. So we're just going to play safe, and we're going to give up that CS lead, and we're just not going to die. And then nobody does anything until it's time to set up Drake. Then there's fights around setting up Drake and taking Drake. And then nobody does shit until the next time it's time to set up for Drake. That's all they do. They strip Handshake for 5 minutes. It's like, we're not going to fight because there's not an objective to fight over. And by objective, I mean Drake.
Yeah.
And they're trying to push some lanes and maybe get some turrets, but they're not going to dive turrets. They're not going to... They fucking full-on Handshake. And then the LCS, you're seeing teams adapt a little bit to what it seems like Cloud9 does, which is proactively setting up objectives and then taking fights to make it happen. So somewhere in between LCK and LEC. And I feel like that's mostly Cloud9. Other teams hesitate towards LCK with a bit of Fiesta thrown in of not doing it well.
Yeah.
But I think the better teams we're seeing, like Golden Guardians, FlyQuest, Immortals, they're playing more and more like Cloud9 is. Now, another thing from that, I think, Jet made an interesting point, is it's the same issue everyone LCS and still LEC has had over these past year or two, is why are you emulating the best team in your league? Do you think you're going to outdo them in the thing they do the best to be the best in your league? Because probably not. Cloud9 spent a year trying to be better at what TL does than TL until second split last year, when all of a sudden they're like, let's just be a little more aggressive. And fuck if they almost didn't beat them in the finals. They went 5 games.
Yeah.
I feel like more teams should find that style that suits them and just go. If there's a straight up just run at you and kill things team in LCS, it's probably somebody like TSM. Because you've got Dardoch, you've got Broken Blade, fucking go for it. Do it.
Dardoch was on Sejuani, TSM was
TSM
neutering
special.
him. They were neutering Dardoch, fucking Sejuani. I hate Sejuani so much. She's such a not fun character to play, in my opinion. Like, and she's just as annoying to watch.
Remind me in 2 weeks, we will pull every champion Dardoch's played and his win-loss on them.
It's probably going to be a lot of Sejuani, and it's going to be a lot of losses.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, right now they have an equal amount of wins and losses.
Yeah, that's true.
So the one question we do have from the chat here, coaching staff. Is it a problem for the bottom teams, more specifically Liquid and Counter Logic? I think for Counter Logic, it's definitely got to be some sort of an issue. Now, it's funny enough, I know coaching-wise, they have Weldon, who was with TSM previously. And I honestly thought he was probably part of an issue at TSM, even though he was with them even when they were winning championships. I felt like Weldon was good as a sports psychologist side of things, but the more and more he got involved in the actual coaching side, I felt like the more that team basically neutered their junglers and things fell apart.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's necessarily neutering Wiggly by any means, but I just don't feel like he plays to his players' strengths. And that's an issue. And I feel like we're seeing that problem on CLG. Now, for Team Liquid, I absolutely don't think coaching's an issue. I think there's a bit of a motivation issue. The players have won 2 years in a row, 4 splits in a row. So it's kind of hard to get up and push yourself at this point.
Yeah.
Also, you didn't have your jungler, so it's also kind of hard to get up and push yourself. All those things compounding, because let's be honest, Song is a great fucking coach.
Yeah, I mean, for as not great as Schernfire looked, Liquid necessarily wasn't failing in the jungle. They were failing all over the map.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard. Yes, it's a very easy place to point the finger at Schernfire, but in reality, like you said, I think it's a motivation issue.
Yeah.
They're just not in it this split.
And even though CLG is failing all over the map, and I'm kind of I think coaching is an issue. I don't think it's the only issue. I think they have all the issues possible. So I've got to say, TL with this motivation thing, it kind of obviously we don't know that that's true, that's a thing by any means, but it feels like it is. And God, it's in a almost opposite way, or not opposite but similar, very different though at the same time. It flashes me back to when Reaper benched everyone but Licorice.
Yeah, well,
because he said Sneaky and Jensen and Smoothie and Svenskeren were not motivated.
Yo.
And he benched them all.
Well, so looking at Team Liquid's bench, they've got an abundance of junglers. So we could pull Schernfire out again. We could pull Mike Young out.
Mike Young.
Pull Pobelter out.
Pobelter's a mid laner. He's just listed jungler because he was going to start week 1 in the jungle until Schernfire got there in time.
I would be.
I wanted to see it.
Yeah,
I did.
I'd be curious to see how that goes.
So if they were going to do a full swap, it would be bot lane of Tactical and who else do they have? Is a
Cow?
Cow is their support they have backup?
Yep.
Okay. Tactical and Cow. It's Cow CAO, not COW, by the way.
Yeah.
It would be Pobelter mid. I'd say Mike Young over Schernfire in the jungle.
What about Yusai?
Oh, Yusui. There you go.
Yusui.
Yeah, no, it would be Yusui mid. You're right. Yusui over Pobelter. And then, do they have another top laner, or is it Impact only?
Jenkins.
Oh, they have to have one. They have an academy team.
Yeah.
So Jenkins. Honestly, though, I think the one person they wouldn't sub out is Jensen, because he seems to be playing his ass off and just not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
But and it's funny, because he was one of the players who was benched on Cloud9.
Yep.
I don't think, obviously, at this point especially, that a benching would help TL.
It's not going to help at all.
If they go 2 more weeks and win only, 1 game, if they lose 3 of EG, Dig, TSM, 100 Thieves, maybe Song just goes full Reapered and, benches 2 or 3 of the players. I don't think that's a bad call at that point.
The academy team that I'm most interested in is Dignitas,
who has only finally lost 1 game.
Yeah, they finally lost 1 game. They're 7. They're 7-1 right now.
Yeah,
and their academy team is Demonte, Acadian, Lurelu, Ale, Phoenix, and is that it? Am I missing somebody?
Yeah, you're missing the bot laner. Because you got Lorlo in the top, you got Cadian in the jungle.
Oh, Phoenix.
Oh, Phoenix is bot lane, that's right.
Yeah.
Because he moved. Damonte, support was Ale. No, you got them all.
Yep. Like, they're all players that have played on the main stage pretty prevalently over, like, the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that their academy team is, like, steamrolling.
Yeah.
But,
So, I mean, that team, like, there's been talk about it in the Reddit and such of, like, well, this team's not what academy should be because it's not developing new players. But I think all of those players you listed still kind of have a place. I think my phone died. Have a place in the LCS for the most part. And obviously the biggest calls are like, oh, bench Greg for Arcadia. And it's like, wow, that's not familiar at all. That definitely wouldn't break Greg's mental forever. I don't think Ale would outperform current Aframu. I don't think you bench Johnson for Phoenix by any means.
So I was mostly
Yeah.
talking about
I
them
agree
to, like,
with it.
maybe some other teams need to look at the Dignitas.
Buy those players?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck yeah.
Like, pull some of these players off of Dignitas's bench and put them back on the main stage because they're clearly...
Damonte should absolutely be on a team, and if he's not
fucking
next
Tanner
split,
time.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I mean, Dignitas must be paying him well enough that he's not complaining.
Like, if Crown doesn't show up by the end of the split for CLG, they should buy him.
Yeah. I mean, and that's assuming that he's not making decent money. Because, like, I mean, he ended the split on Clutch last year pretty well.
Yeah, that was the end of a contract, though.
Oh.
Yeah, nobody else offered him. That's why he's with their academy.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fucked.
Yep. Well, so he and Pobelter both made comments that a ton of that they didn't get reached out to by anyone, basically, because teams were assuming they would want too much money. Was their thought, at least. And Damonte, it was Damonte or Pobelter. One of them said they're like, I'm willing to pay for a lot less than I think these teams think I'm willing to play for. And yeah, so I bet his contract isn't very big.
Yeah, I'm guessing probably somewhere between like 80 and 100K. Probably nothing outrageous. Like nothing, not like Hoonie money, not like double lift money.
Not Hoonie Impact, double lift.
Yeah.
Not that 1.75 mil buyout. Vulcan's not getting paid that. That was the buyout for him. It was a 1.5 mil buyout with the $250,000 purchase of Johnson as part of a trade.
Yeah, so...
Which, gotta say, paying the fuck off, Vulcan is the best support in the league right now.
Yep.
Hands down.
No, that was a
gross
great...
as hell.
Yeah, I mean, do we have anything else to chat about?
I think that closes us out here.
Kind of rounds out the show. We can go into like an after show for a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's close out the main show then. That'll do it for episode 5 of season 4. League of Loggers, and until next time, cheers.